Good evening. Melissa Johnson here for episode 36 of Melissa Loves to Talk. Today is January 31st, 2026, last day of January. I will be glad to see it gone, but really can't wait for spring. We only got a little bit of snow, but it's pretty cold here. I know a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's warm," but for here it's pretty cold. I think it's 23 right now, something like that. It's pretty windy. So, I mean, yeah, 23 is not awful considering I grew up in Baltimore. So, it's not awful. But uh I liked yesterday. Yesterday it was almost 50. So that was great. I could do that. I could do 40s, 50s all winter. That would be great. I think there has been a couple winters where it was like that here, where it didn't really get cold. If it did, it was at night, and then during the day it was pretty nice. But every year is different. Um, so it is what it is. This is where I am, so I got to deal with the weather. But anyway, I forgot what videos I was supposed to look up. I did look up the one video that I was talking about yesterday with Alex Preddy. I think it's the one where he's pulling for his gun. I think that's the one I was looking for. It is Liz Wheeler. She's talking about it, which I like better because then they can explain what's going on. I think she freezes it and she talks about it. So I thought that would be a good video. The other one that I was supposed to look for, I could not remember. So hopefully, maybe I'll think of it and I can do it tomorrow because I couldn't remember. I should have wrote myself a note while I was doing this and then I would have just looked it up. But I realized I have to literally just go through YouTube. I can't Google it. It won't give you a good video because it'll give you the news or whatever. And I think that was the problem. But I am going to show you that video because I said I would, but that's not going to be my main focus today. My main focus is more going to be about elections and not necessarily about the elections are coming up, all that stuff. But if you notice, it's when you vote, do you care about policy or personality? Because I'll be honest, I think that is what has got us where we are in this country is people um care about people's personality too much, whether they're a nice person or whether they are pretty or whether they're just professional or whatever, you know? And honestly, I know that's the way people think people should look or people should act. But again, this is what got us to where we are because we're worried about, what people look like, what people say, what do they sound like they're politicians. Okay. If you look at the politicians that we have right now, I'm going to say mostly Congress. I'm going to use Congress because I am so mad at Congress right now that I just want to pick on them. So I'm going to use Congress right now. So we have 435 congressmen and women. I think that's between both House and Senate. I'm not positive on the exact number, but I think that's the number. I think it's like 435. If someone knows the exact number without me having to look, but I think that's the number. We'll just say that's it. So you have 435 people. Okay. We have a mix of men and women. We have a mix of color, race, nationality, all that stuff. Okay. That I don't care. Please. I love the division. I love multiple colors. I love all that. Men, women, whatever. Okay. Thank God we don't have any trans in there. Thank the Lord Jesus. We do have some Muslims, which I'm not real happy about because I don't, again, like I said that yesterday, I don't believe they should be in there. This country is a Christian nation. But hey, whatever. That's not really where I'm going. I'm going more with the way they present themselves, the way they talk. Okay. So some of them act very professional. They're wearing a suit, they're wearing a nice pantsuit, dress, whatever the women wear. I can't really tell what they're wearing if you can only see this part. A man, you can tell because they're wearing a tie. So you pretty much are like, okay, they're wearing a suit. Okay. I'm going to tell you my favorite people that are in the house. I don't think dress necessarily the most professional. Again, they're usually wearing a certain type, but not a lot of times when I see them, they may not be. But it's more not even the way they're dressed, it's more the way they talk. Okay. So, like, we have Tim Burchett. He's one of my favorites. I love him so much. He lives probably about almost 2 hours from me. I don't know exactly where he lives. I just know he lives in Knoxville somewhere. That's about 2 hours from me. So he's not anywhere in my district, not even in my area, but I love him so much because he, number one, is country and he talks country and he talks honest and truth and just says what is on his mind. He's not trying to be politically correct. He's not trying to be, making people think a certain thing about him on his presentation. He's just telling you what he believes and the truth. Okay. So there's probably people who are like, I don't like the way he talks. He doesn't talk professional. He doesn't sound like a politician. I don't know. I love him because he doesn't talk like a politician. He talks like us, like I talk, just a common person. And he wants a lot of the things that we want. Okay. He's Christian. He's conservative. He thinks like we do. Okay. And then you have, again, Anna Paulina Luna. I think that's how you say her name. I love her also. She talks a little bit more professional like that, but most of the time she talks like us and believes like we do and says what we would say. Okay. So 2 of my favorites. Okay. And then we have the senators. Of course, I'm not naming every single person that I like, but I'm just pointing out. Okay. And we have our favorite Senator Kennedy. He is my all-time favorite. I love him because of the things he says are just so funny. And he just says it. He could care less what anybody thinks about him. And I love him so much. So this is what I'm saying. A lot of people will criticize them because of the way they talk. Okay. Now, I will tell you, AOC, she tries to talk professional. She may use some big words, but she sounds like a complete idiot, even though she's talking very well, trying to be professional, talk like, she knows what she's talking about. And she has no idea. Okay. Number one, her policies are horrible. Okay. This is where I'm going with it. It's not really what you say. To me, it's about what your policy is. Okay. Which is the main problems that me and my sister have with Donald Trump. Okay. She thinks because of the way he talks and he's so unprofessional. And I'm like, really? That's what's important if they talk weird or unprofessional? I care about policy. And I think most conservatives, that's what they care about. You care about policies. Are they taxing the crap out of us? How are they using our money? That's the main thing what we're caring about, right? We care about how they're using our money more than anything. We pay our taxes. What are they doing with it? Are they trying to take our rights away? Again, this is what we care about. I could care less about how they talk. Honestly, I love the way President Trump talks, because he says it like it is, and he says the things that people are too afraid to say. Because I can guarantee you, most of the people that say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that," is thinking it. They just would never say it because they don't want to be canceled. They don't want people to think a certain way about them. And I'm going to be honest, I think more about what God thinks about me than what people think about me. Okay? And all the things that people say doesn't mean it correct, because you're saying it politically correct, which wasn't even a thing to Obama, because that's not freedom of speech. Politically correctness is not freedom of speech. It's for me to say something to make you not offended, right? It's, I'm going to say it the nicest way possible so that I don't hurt your feelings. I don't make you offended. Okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm very blunt. I had this boss one time, and he would say, "Melissa, I can't believe you just said that. You were so blunt. I can't even believe you said that." Because I told the district manager, because I was getting interviewed to get promoted. And I told the district manager, when they asked me, why do I want my own store? I said, so I can run it how I want to run it. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. You're just so blunt." I said, well, it's the truth. Why would I make up stories? Why would I say something that's not true so that I can get the job? If you're not hiring me because I'm doing a good job, don't hire me. Don't promote me if it's not because I'm doing a good job. If you're only going to promote me or hire me because I'm sucking up, sorry, I'm not a suck up. I will not. I'm very truthful. I'm going to tell you what I think about pretty much everything, especially if you ask me. If you ask me what I think, you're going to hear what I think. So that's what I love the most, I'll be honest, about President Trump. That's why when he said he was going to run and he came down that escalator, I was like, yes, I'm voting for him. I do not care. I am ready. And when he started, campaigning and stuff, I was like, oh, yes, I am so ready. I'm so sick of politicians, especially because it was Obama then. Ugh, so disgusting. Talking about politically correctness. No, I don't like politically correctness at all. I like, you say what's on your mind. You tell the truth. Because if you're sugarcoating stuff, you never know what's true. It's like, okay, well, you're not doing exactly what I want you to do, but thank you. Well, can you tell me what you want me to do? Don't try to be nice about it. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what you want me to do. That's me. I'm real. I'll tell you what you're not doing right and what I want you to do. And people, because of that politically correctness, this is why we're here. Because it's like, oh, you hurt my feelings. That's what people care about. It's like, I don't care. We live in a country where I can say whatever I want to say. That's what it is. Now, will I be downright rude to somebody? No, I'm not going to say rude things to hurt your feelings on purpose, but I'm not going to say stuff just to be nice. I'm not going to beat around the bush. But you ask me a question, I'm going to be honest. And I know sometimes people don't like that, but this country is just too soft these days. I mean, I think about the things that used to be on shows that we used to watch. I mean, Archie Bunker, the Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, the stuff they would say. Oh my goodness. Good times. I mean, we would be bawling like babies having those shows canceled because our feelings would be hurt. And to me, it was hilarious. And they're making fun of white people. These were three shows were predominantly black shows, and they would make fun of white people. And I love those shows. They cracked me up. 227. All my favorite shows. Love them. They were hilarious because it was just honest fun. It wasn't, oh, you're hurting my feelings. You're saying I'm a honky, whatever. It's like there's this guy, I think his name's Ben something, Badkus or something like that. I see his little reels all the time on Facebook, and he's in Canada, but he tours, United States and stuff, which I thought he lived in the United States and just toured Canada. I didn't know. And then said he was from Canada, but again, I still thought he lived here, but apparently he still lives in Canada. At least that's what it sounded like, the way he was talking about it, because we were like, yeah, here. It sounded like he was still lived in Canada. But either way, I mean, he just says things because he picks on people in the audience, and he'll just say things, and I don't know if any of them get mad. They usually sound like they're laughing because he'll just diss them. If that's, I don't think people say that anymore, but I mean, he'll just say crazy off the wall things. And I mean, I would be dying laughing if he did that to me. Like, I was thinking, I wonder how much his shows are, because I might try to go if he gets close to my house. The ones I saw weren't close, so I'm pretty sure it's kind of expensive, so I wouldn't want to travel far. But I was like, if it's close enough for me to go, I would go and have a ball, because he can make fun of me all day. I wouldn't care. But I feel like that's the biggest problem with this country right now. I mean, we have a lot of problems, but I think it all boils down to that, is everybody wants someone to be nice to them and everyone to not hurt their feelings. And we don't do that. We're telling people truth. Truth hurts sometimes, and that's okay. In the Bible, it says the truth will set you free, because it hurts, and then you want to change it. Oh, well, that is true. Maybe I should do something about that. It's conviction. The guy that I listened to in the morning, the podcast, that's what he was talking about. I think it was yesterday. And he was like, it's not condemnation, it's conviction. Because we don't want condemnation. There's no condemnation in Christ Jesus. But there is conviction. Conviction's good, because that means, okay, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I can fix that. It's real easy. Just do the opposite of what you're doing. But I think this is the biggest problem we have in this country right now. I don't know if people agree, but when I listen to the things that people say, I'm just like, all they care about is, let me say the nicest things to not hurt your feelings. And I won't do that. I'm not going to do it. I mean, you can ask the people I live with. I'm pretty harsh to them. I live with 4 guys, my husband and my 3 sons. And I just tell them like it is. I'm very harsh. Sorry. And you're all guys. You should be able to take it, right? And I mean, sometimes they're not nice to me, and sometimes I do get my feelings hurt, but it's not because of stuff they say. It's usually stuff they don't do. And I do get my feelings kind of hurt because service is my love language. So I like people to do things for me because that's my love language. But no, usually when you tell me something, I mean, unless it's just downright rude, which, like I said, I don't try to be rude to anybody. I just tell people like it is. I wouldn't say, oh my gosh, that outfit looks awful. No, I would never say that. I just might say, I don't know if I'd wear that because it doesn't look that good, or something like that. Or maybe I wouldn't wear that, or something like that. I would never just say that looks horrible. I wouldn't say, oh, don't wear that, it makes you look fat. No. I mean, I wouldn't mind you if you said that to me. Maybe you shouldn't wear that. You got a little bit too much hanging out. Probably shouldn't wear that. And that's okay. Be honest. Don't let me wear something that I look awful in. Right? We don't want that. So I really don't know how to fix the way people talk and the way people think people should talk. I think it's changing a little bit just because we have President Trump who just says it like it is. I think people are starting to loosen up a little bit. We still have the lefty Lulus who, oh, I can't believe he said that. And they'll say that about, the cabinet members. Oh, I can't believe they said that. Yes, but I do feel like more Americans in general are starting to loosen up a little bit. I don't hear so much about people judging the way Trump talks. Because I had my own families that are conservative would say that, would be like, well, Trump probably shouldn't have said that. Now, I will say there's probably a couple things in the last 10 years that I would have said, maybe he shouldn't have said it or said it like that. But again, why not? Just be honest, right? Just tell it like it is. That's who he is. Why pretend to be something you're not? We know he's not a politician, so why would he pretend to be? That's what I'm not understanding. Oh, he doesn't talk like a politician. Well, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's not a politician, so why would he act like one? And then people get all bent out of shape because, like, oh, he doesn't talk like a Republican. Well, technically, he's not a Republican. I mean, he ran as a Republican, but I don't know that he's technically a Republican. I mean, I guess he is, but he's not one like us. Like, I've been a Republican since forever. I've always been a Republican since the very first day that I filled out my voter registration. I won't tell you how many years ago, but a long time. But President Trump's not like that. I mean, he believes in conservative values. So I would say more like he would be a conservative. But I mean, I'm not really sure, but he definitely isn't a politician. So he's not going to talk like a politician. I mean, even Vice President JD, he doesn't even really always talk like a politician, and he is because he was a senator. But he doesn't always talk like a politician either. And honestly, I want you to be real. I don't want you to be a fake politician. Politicians are fake. They tell you what you want to hear. They tell their donors what they want to hear because they want your votes. They want your money, right? That's what they do. I mean, I wish they voted the way that we wanted them to vote because that would give us more likely reason to vote for them. But I guess if they get paid, they don't care if they get voted for. I mean, at this point, I'm hoping that most of the Republicans are going to get primaried, but who knows? I don't know if anybody that's watches Steven Crowder, but the podcast I think he did Thursday, I watched it yesterday, so it has to be from Thursday. He was showing the map and explaining how deporting all the illegals would change the election results. And I mean, it was pretty wild. You might want to look it up and watch it, even if you don't follow him. I'm giving him a little plug. I love him because he's just hilarious. But he had the map and he was showing, like, in 2020 how many illegals voted. Come on, we know they voted. How many illegals probably voted in 2024? But if they all got deported, what would happen to the votes? This is awesome. Danny, you're watching. Thank you. You're in Georgia. This was a nice little fun fact that I did not know that he said. He said that there is 479,000 illegals in Georgia. My goodness, if that's true, we need Ice Baby coming hardcore in Georgia. Because out of the swing states, because he just did the swing states, ours was the highest in Georgia. Most of them were like 100 and Like one was 199,000, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but 479,000, that's crazy. That's blows my mind. I can't even believe there's that many. I feel like the population is only a little bit more than that. I mean, Georgia has not that much population for as big as it is. So that was crazy. It blew my mind. It literally, whew, I couldn't believe it. I had to watch it again and had my husband watch it because I was like, that can't be right. It can't be that many illegals here. And I mean, I didn't look it up, but normally he does have a link that I can click on. He always cites his sources. So I believe it's true. I could go back and look at his source and go, but I'm assuming it's real. Because again, he always cites his sources, so you can go back and check. So anyway, that's a lot. So I know ICE is in Georgia, but we need more because 479,000, that's a lot. I know the little town that I live in is probably 6,000 people. 6,000 people live in my town. 479,000 illegals in the state. That's insane. So, anyway, that was not really what I was talking about, but it has to do with all of what's going on. And then again, that has to do with the way people act about it, the way they talk. Oh, they're undocumented. Oh, they're immigrants. No, they're illegal aliens, if you want to be technical on what they're actually called, because that's literally what it says in the law. That's literally what they're called as the law. Not me saying that, you saying that. That's what they are called. Illegal aliens. So, politically correct. That's not politically correct. So they say undocumented migrant, you know, or whatever they say. I don't even listen to them. I just blank them out because it's not correct. Okay. So, do you like people that are nice and tell you what you want to hear, or do you care about their policies when you vote for them? I'm going to say most of the people that are going to be watching me, they care about policy. Okay. I'm going to show you what happens when you only care about what they're telling you. Okay. Now, mind you, this is her policies that she ran on. Affordability. Okay. Affordability. That's the left's favorite word, affordability. Okay. This is what she thinks affordability is. I'm going to show you the new governor of Virginia's policies that are for affordability. And you tell me what you think. I'm not going to be on the screen. If you're new to following me, I can't get a split screen, so I can only do one or the other. So I'm going to go off the screen. I'm going to show you the video.
Abigail Spanberger and Virginia Democrats won big because they told voters that they would reduce the cost of living and improve affordability in the Commonwealth. But this legislative session, a lot of Virginia Democratic lawmakers have proposed over 50 new tax increases and proposals. I'll read some of them to you. They include additional local sales tax in all Virginia counties and cities, new personal property tax on electric leaf blowers and electric landscaping equipment, large employer tax, gun and ammunition tax, new income tax brackets, a delivery tax. This would hit you if you ordered things on Amazon, Uber Eats, UPS, FedEx, etc. Investment income tax, event tax, concert tax, storage facility tax, gym membership tax, dog walking tax, dog grooming tax, counseling tax. Got to catch my breath. Digital personal property tax, new car taxes and highway use fees, increase in the hotel tax here in Arlington, statewide speed cameras. Now, those aren't taxes, but drivers would pay more fines if that went through. A dry cleaning tax, concert tax, home repair tax, and a vehicle repair tax. Now, I did reach out to Spanberger's office, and Don Scott's office. He's the speaker here in Virginia, as well as the leader in the Senate, asking them, how would all of this make life more affordable to you? We'll put their responses on our webpage, WJLA.com. We had a big election last year in Virginia.
Okay, so does that sound like affordability to you? Okay. And there was a woman, she, I guess, did a TikTok video. I'm not really sure. I saw it on a podcast. They were showing it. And she said that her bill was usually around 200, her, utility bill. Don't remember if she said it was gas and electric. I'm not sure. But it was probably at least electric. Okay. Because she said it was her utilities. I know where I live, I only have electric. Where I used to live, I had gas and electric because we hooked up the gas and we had a gas stove and we had a gas water heater. So we had both. But here we just have electric. And my electric bill is $125. That's what it was, what it's been probably for the last 5 or 6 months, between 110, 125. Now, next month, it'll probably be a little bit higher because of it being so cold. The heat's been kicking on more. But in general, my bill has been only 110, 125. I have a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house, and 5 of us live here. And my bill is 120, 125. She said her bill would normally be about 200. Okay. That's average most places. I know most people that I know, that's probably what they pay. Okay. My electric's a little bit cheaper where I live than other places. Let me tell you, the sewer bill is a lot higher than any other place I've ever lived. So it evens out. But, anyway, the electric bill is 120, 125. Okay. So that's fine. She said hers was about 200. She got her bill this month. It was $600. So that's 3 times as much. Again, it could be really cold there, but that's a big jump. I will tell you, when I lived further down in Georgia, we lived in a different county, and the electric bill did go up and down a lot. Again, I had gas and electric, and it would go up and down. In the winter, it would be a little bit higher because you're running the heat a little bit more. It just depends. So mine would be a little bit higher in the winter. But triple, I don't think so. That's absurd. So that's not affordability. Okay. But this is what these people tell you when they want you to vote for them. But if you understand the left, what they say is not their policy. You learn their policy from other places, what's going on in other Democratic areas. You don't have to listen to what they're telling you. Okay. I have to say, honestly, when Mondami and Spamberger got elected, I was like, okay, well, what if they go in there and they do make things cheaper and they do make things affordable just until midterms to make it look like they're doing good and so they can win the midterms. Thank God it's going the other way. It makes me so happy because they're killing their economy, that it gives us a better chance of making people understand, stop voting for Democrats, vote Republican. Democrats are killing their cities and their states, okay, with their awful policy. Every policy they have is awful. Okay, like Mondami, he ran on policies of everything's going to be free. Okay, free daycare, free healthcare, free public transportation. He just kept saying all this stuff's going to be free. Okay. Where's the money coming from if everything's free? Where does the money come from? Okay? The money comes from somewhere. So what happened is he just got in office January 1st. They're already negative $12 million, I think, in a month. Not even a month. Because they forget their funding is not just from New York City. They get funding from the federal government. Oh, what happened to all the funding from the federal government? The USAID got cut. That was all the fraud money that everybody was getting to use for all this stuff they wanted to pass, all these crazy policies. Well, that got cut. And then now they're going to lose the government funding because they're a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state. They're losing all their funding. So then they're like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, we know. Let's tax everyone. That's the go-to. Let's tax people more. Because we want to spend your money. We want to spend your money, not our money. That's the way the Democrats think. But let's see what Trump's doing. What is he doing? He's cutting taxes. Again, he can only cut federal taxes. He can't do anything with cities and states. Even though he's a dictator, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi and all this stuff, he can only mess with federal stuff. So he's cutting federal tax. That's all he can do. So now these mayors and I keep wanting to say senators, sorry, all these mayors and governors want to tax the crap out of their people because they don't have the money to do all this stuff they want to do, give all these people free stuff. That's not good policy. To raise our taxes is not good policy. Because what's going to happen is the people in New York that are the 1%, because they just said they're going to raise their tax, the 1%, 2%. Okay, I get it. You're looking, okay, 2% is not a lot. Okay, if you're a millionaire, 2%, whatever, I'll just pay 2% more. But he didn't say it's all your money. So it's not just your income that you make on your paycheck. Okay, so you own your own business, you get a paycheck. You have whatever your paycheck is, that money you get taxed 2% more. That would be probably okay, but it's your house. So whatever your house is worth, you're paying 2% more on that. Whatever your car is, whatever your investments, all that is getting taxed 2% more, not just your income. That's different. Again, 2%, not a big deal. If you're a millionaire, you could care less. What's 2%? Not a big deal. Now, me, 2% would be a lot, but to them, it's not. But it's not just their income. It's going to be everything that they own is going to be 2% more. So what's going to happen? These people are going to move. This is why the Electoral College is going to be crazy in 2023. It's going to completely change because all these people are moving from blue states to red states. And hopefully they're not taking their policy with them. You know, hopefully they're not going to red states and still voting blue. Please, I'm begging you. If you leave a blue state, don't vote blue when you go to a red state. You're going to make that red state blue. What you just left, you're going to make this new state the same thing. You got to vote red if you're going to go to a red state because that's how you keep everything cheaper. Okay? Like in Georgia, they're trying to do something with the property tax. I'm not positive if they're trying to do away with it, make it cheaper. I'm not really sure. Either way, they're trying to make it cheaper. Again, don't always agree with Georgia. They are still red. We are still red. Don't let anybody tell you we're not. But it's a struggle, okay? I mean, any red state that has big cities, which is pretty much all of them, have the same problems. You know, Tennessee is a red state. Nashville, Memphis kills Chattanooga, kills Tennessee because they want to push the blue stuff. You know, let's push more taxes. Let's push this. Why? Why can't you just realize how good the red states run? Oh, because you don't want your state to run good. That's the problem with the blue states. The Democrats, the lefty Lulus, I call them. They don't want good policies for their people. They want to make their people poor so they can be richer. That's what they do. This is the problem with the government right now. And honestly, it's Republicans too. Look at our Congress right now. That's how I started. If you weren't here when I started, that's where I started with our fabulous Congress right now. To me, if I had my way, I'd primary every single one of them that keeps voting against what we want. I mean, number one, ICE and Border Patrol is going to be funded till 2029. All this bullcrap is, I'm going to shut the government down because I don't want ICE and Border Patrol to get money. It doesn't matter. They're already going to be funded. You're just lying to people. You're literally lying and telling people, we don't want to fund them. We're shutting the government down because we don't want to fund them. They're still going to be funded. They were funded when we closed down the last time, when they tried to push to not fund them. They're funded to 2029. Stop telling people you don't want to fund them. You don't have a choice. They're already funded. You're just lying to people just like you did. I'm shutting the government down for the ACA. You didn't do that because when it got right back in session, that wasn't even what you were talking about. Never heard about it again until the end of the year because they had to hurry up and pass it by the end of the year. When it got back in session, that should have been the first thing you were doing because that's what you shut the government down for. Because you wanted to pass the ACA. This is what they do. They lie. You don't need to listen to what they're saying. Watch what they're doing. This is what I tell my husband. What you tell me means nothing. What do you do? Let me see your actions. Action speaks louder than words. It's the truth. You can tell me I'm the most gorgeous woman in the world. You're lying, but it doesn't make it true because you say it, right? You can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't make it true. So this is what these people do. These people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Your policy is not that. I can tell you from all the other things. Look at every single blue city. Most of the blue cities that have ICE in them are rioting, number one. Okay? Not all of them. They do have some. Okay? They're at least protesting. They may not be rioting, but they're protesting. Okay? I'm going to tell you in Northwest Georgia, I have not seen one protester against ICE. Not one. Not one. I have not. I drive around Northwest Georgia all day because I do Instacart. I have not seen one. Now, mind you, ICE is not right there. It's in Dalton, which is probably 30 minutes from here. Okay? There may be protesters in Dalton. I don't know. But there's none in Northwest Georgia where I live. Dalton is still Northwest Georgia. Okay? But I don't see any protesters. In Chattanooga, okay, there is ICE. There are some protesters. They were there Wednesday. I don't know if they've been there since it's so cold. I don't know if they've been back, but they weren't rioting. They were just protesting. I can guarantee you they would not be rioting because people, constitutional carry here, number one. And number two is the police are everywhere in Chattanooga. They're going to shut it down. They're not going to do what they do in all these other cities. They're not going to, I mean, Chattanooga, yes, technically is blue, but they still don't run like that. I can guarantee you it's not. It's not going to run like that. They are going to peacefully protest. They were literally peacefully protesting. You can watch it on Facebook. They were not doing anything wrong. They were doing exactly what they have a right to do. They can carry their signs. They can yell and scream. You have a right to do that. As long as you're not putting your hands on people, you're peacefully protesting. Even if you're cussing me out, you still have a right to do that. You have a right to call me any name you want, give me the finger. That's all protected by the First Amendment. Once you put your hands on me, now you're not protected by the First Amendment because you assaulted me. There's the difference. Do we understand the difference? I'm sure we do. Sorry, I'm reading one of the things in the chat because I want to see if I want to comment on it. Oh, yeah. Tanya was saying in New Hampshire it was red. And then, you know, people had to interfere. That's what they like to do. I still think that New Hampshire still has a lot of red policies. I don't know. I've never even been there. But it's kind of like my other friends from Vermont. And I think they still have a lot of red policies, but I know it's very expensive to live there. That's why she lives here, because it's very expensive in Vermont. But I mean, I'm from Baltimore, and I mean, honestly, it's not that much more expensive than it is here. Well, at least in Chattanooga. Georgia's a little bit cheaper, but it's big cities, honestly. It doesn't really matter where you live. If you live in a big city, it's a little bit more expensive anyway. But I know, like, where my friend's from, she lived in a really little town. I mean, they had one traffic light. But okay, so she said the New Hampshire governor was a Republican. That's what I thought. So they still have some good policies, but again, Republican only means you're a Republican. Doesn't necessarily mean you have Republican policies. Look at Georgia. So he's a big fat rhino. So anyway, so that is all I'm saying is when you vote for policy. Please don't care what they're saying to you, because what they're saying could be anything. I'm going to be honest. They could tell you, hey, everyone that votes for me, I'm going to send you $1,500. Do you think they're really going to do that when you vote for them? Do you think they're going to send you $1,500? 99% no. Okay. There might be a 1% chance that they have some kind of policy they can put through and give everybody $1,500. But what did Biden do? That's what he did. He got people to vote for him because he said, oh, I'm going to get rid of all the student loan debt. I'm going to give you all this stuff that he didn't do. Okay. I think some of the student loans were forgiven, but not all of them. My sister called me. Hers was not forgiven, so I don't know why. But so this is what I'm saying. Policy, number one, what they're saying, you can look it up and see if what you look up on their website matches to what they're saying. So you can do that. Most likely what their website says is not what they're saying. Also, you can see what other Democrats are saying, what other Republicans are saying. Okay? Just like you have, like right now, you know, we have some of the people that are running right now, a lot of them are pushing, we want to lower taxes. We want to, we have some that are saying we want to support ICE. We're all about supporting closed borders, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Again, most of the time, that's what Republicans want. They want closed borders. They want low taxes. So in the past, this is what's happened. The other side has done the opposite. For them to change and say, now we care, I can tell you that's not true. I would have to say, if it happens, I would probably pass out on the floor if a Democrat gets in and lowers taxes and makes it affordable for their constituents. I would literally pass out because I don't think it's ever happened ever. Maybe it has, but it was the rarest case. Most of the time, they raise taxes. And again, Republicans do also. Not all Republicans cut taxes. Okay? Some of them raise taxes. It is true. But, okay, do they care about closed borders? Do they care about deporting the illegals? Okay, right now, that's a lot of our focus. That is my main focus. Because I guarantee you, we get the illegals out, affordability will be actual affordability. We'd be able to afford a lot if we got rid of the illegals. And like I said yesterday, we may never get all of them. We may never. There is so many. We know 30 million. I can guarantee you it's probably more than that. Like they said, it's probably so many that have been here for years. 20, 30, 40, 50, who knows? They've been here for years. We may never get them. But if there was 30 million that came over the border in 5 years and we get those 30, that is a good start. That is fabulous. We at least get the 30 million that came in the last 5 years. That would be fabulous. And then we can work on getting the rest out. You know, slowly. It may be slowly. Like I said, 2,600 to self-deport. Just take the 2,600 and be on your way. You can come right back. If you get deported, you cannot come back. So take the $2,600 and self-deport and come back. I mean, if you're a couple and you get $5,200, if you're going to, you know, a third world country, that's a lot of money. I was in Madagascar last year. $1 is 4,400 RERs. So you're rich if you have $5,200 in Madagascar. You're living the life. I had $40 in cash and they were like, put it away, put it away. I was like, it's only $40. And they were like, no, you look rich, because when you turn it into their money, it was a stack of money like this. And it was $40. I was like, this is just $40. Like, it was like crazy. Put it away, put it away. You look like you're rich. They're going to grab your money. You know, I'm like, okay. So take the $2,600, the $5,200, go back to your country, stay there, or come back the right way. I have no problem with you coming back the right way. No problem whatsoever. You are welcome to come the right way. Do it the way all the other people that came here and got naturalized did it. I have no problem with that. Not whatsoever. Most of us came here. We migrated here. Okay? The right way. You can look up my family's immigration paper online. That's how I know where they're from, because I looked it up. They came here the right way. They had paperwork. So I have no problem with you coming here the right way. I'm so thankful they came here and I'm here. I am so thankful. I love this country. I love this country so much, and I want it to be as amazing as it used to be. Right now, we're struggling. And I fight so hard for my children and my grandchildren that I may have one day. Hopefully, I will have grandchildren. I fight so hard. And I will tell people this to the day I die, what I'm telling you. All of it. I will talk about deportation probably for the rest of my life now because of what we went through for 5 years. I literally will probably talk about it for my whole life. Because that is what's hurt this country the most. Number one, I'll say the second most, because I'm going to say politically correctness is probably the most. That is probably what hurt this country the most. And then 2 is illegal immigration. Again, you can say, I don't believe that. Please leave me a comment. I believe it's this. That is probably something else. There's probably 55 things that we can mention the top of our head. And we're like, this is what's wrong with the country right now. But I can name 5 million that what's great about this country. Like what I'm doing right now. This is great. I probably said a whole bunch of things that I would probably be in jail for if I lived in the UK. I can guarantee you it. So, right there, that's the greatest thing that we have in this country. I was telling my husband earlier, we were talking about what happened during COVID. Well, really, we were talking about how all the other countries that were kind of like ours, had a democracy, we'll say. We don't have a democracy per se. We're a constitutional republic, but we do vote democratically. So that's why they want to try to say a democracy. But a lot of countries have democracies and now they don't because they didn't have the First and Second Amendment. That's why this country stayed like it did during COVID, because we had rights. So they couldn't just shut us down, lock us in our house forever, take our weapons, make us get jabs. They tried, but we resisted because we have rights. Where other countries, they literally couldn't travel in Canada unless they got the jab. You can't leave your province unless you get the jab. They couldn't do that here. They tried, but they couldn't because we have rights. And that's why I said this country is the best country in the world. And I will fight and fight and fight. Because I would have been in jail or fired or whatever they would have done because I was not going to get the jab. I wore the stupid mask. That was the extent of what I was going to do. And we didn't close for anything. We stayed open for everything where I lived. So just saying. This is why they keep attacking our country, because they know we're the ones, if they get us, they get everybody. And all the other countries have been not fighting. And now they're starting to fight because President Trump has been, uplifting them, I guess you can say. It's like, look what you can do. Honestly, some of the rights are God-given. Some of them are not because you have a constitution. Okay? Realistically, to talk is a God-given right. Freedom of speech is a God-given right. In UK, they had the same thing. They even said it. They were like, it's a God-given right to have freedom of speech. It's not the government giving you freedom of speech. We just have a constitution that backs it. So they can't take it because it's a constitution right. They can't take our freedom of speech. But they try. They try their hardest to tell us, oh, you can't say that. That's, again, like I said, politically correct. But Don Lemon could barge into that church. That's his constitutional right to barge into that church because he's a journalist. No, that's not how it works. Again, like I said yesterday, if he would have stood outside and when everybody came out after church and he would have talked to them and all that, he would have been fine. When they barged into that church, now they messed up. Okay? So, anyway, thank you for joining me. Please like and share. Please comment if you disagree, if you agree, if you have other things that you think that makes this country great. Please tell me. I love to hear all the things that people think that makes this country great. I will definitely probably agree with everything you say. Like I said, I could probably think of at least 50 things that I love about this country. But I said my favorite two were, now I can't even remember what I said. Well, mostly this, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech and, I don't even remember now. I'm sorry. Wow. I guess I need a break. No. I actually didn't sleep in this morning. I was going to, but I still woke up early. I didn't realize it snowed because normally I would do a little bit of Instacart today, but my car slides all over the road. So I didn't want to take a chance going out. It wasn't a lot of snow, but my car slides in the rain. So I didn't want to take the chance. So I got up at like 7:15. And so I'm probably a little tired. Just because I woke up for no reason and I just did a little stuff, drank coffee, watched some videos, looked for the videos that I was looking for today, and realized that I have to literally go on YouTube to find my videos. I can't Google them on here to get the things that I want to see. That's why yesterday I couldn't pull any of them up. I had to literally go to YouTube, which I did not show the video. I'm going to show the video really quick from Alex Preddy, just because I said I was going to show it yesterday. I know I want to be done, but I'm going to show it just because I said I was going to. And like I said, Liz Wheeler is talking about it, and she's going to tell you frame by frame, I think, and she'll explain everything.
Before any law enforcement officer fires a gun at Alex Preddy, you will see Alex Preddy reach for his waistband, as if reaching for his holster, as if reaching for his firearm. Okay, so let's roll this tape. So you can see the man in the gray, the officer's hand. You see him reaching for the firearm. Then you see the man in green, the law enforcement officer drawing his gun. Now listen very closely for the sound of the first shot. Okay, stop it right there for a second. Now, the sound of the first shot is not when Alex Preddy is shot. The sound of the first shot, again, we'll come back to that in a moment, because there are theories which seem to be substantiated about Alex Preddy's firearm negligently discharging after the officer had removed it from his holster, after the officer had disarmed Alex Preddy. But watch what's happening. The agent in green, who is the agent that ultimately shoots Alex Preddy, does not fire his firearm until, roll the tape. Watch what Alex Preddy does. Watch his hand right there. He's reaching around his back. He's reaching for his holster. You can see his arm going like this, reaching for his holster. And it is only at that moment, you can roll the tape again. It is only at that moment that law enforcement shoots him. Before any law enforcement officer fires a gun at
Sorry, I didn't realize that I didn't pause it. But anyway, so there you have it. for all the people that are saying he was peaceful, he was this law-abiding citizen. Now, number one, he was resisting arrest. This is why all the police were on him, and he was reaching for something. Unfortunately, it was not a gun, but the Border Patrol agent had no idea what he was reaching for. He would assume it was a gun. It actually looks like a gun. They do show it in another video. It does kind of look like the handle of a gun or whatever. It does, because it's black and it looks like a gun. So he was in his right to shoot him. There was a gentleman that's what he does. He does self-defense cases, and he said you don't have to be correct in your self-defense. You just have to show that you thought it was true. You know, like, it makes sense. Like, yes, he looked like he was reaching for a gun, and he could have shot everybody there. We don't know. But he saw the gun. He saw him reaching for what looked to be a gun, and he shot him. And he had already heard a gunshot first. So I would never justify someone dying. I am sad that he is dead. His parents have to be mortified. Okay. So I would never say he deserved to die. Never, 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 never. No one deserves it. Okay. But it was justified. If I was that Border Patrol officer, I would have done the same thing, because it's you or him at that point. Okay. Didn't even have, I said 2 to 3 seconds, but it wasn't even that long. If he would have pulled a gun out, he could have shot 2-3 people before. You don't know. You don't know. You have a split second to think. And again, you want to make it to your family. You want to get home to your wife, your kids. You know, you are thinking about that. And when your life is at risk, it's self-defense. Okay? Unfortunately, he did not have a gun, but he did not know that. Okay? The gun that he did have, another agent had already removed. But again, he could have had another gun. Nobody knows. Nobody knew. He saw the one gun, he removed it, but he could have had another one. No one knows. At that point, you would have no idea, and you were justified to protect yourself. We have the right to protect ourselves. Right? Life is the first thing. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have a right to life, so we have a right to protect our life, and that's what he was doing. He was protecting himself and everyone else that was there. Because a lot of people could have been hurt. There was a lot of people there. So anyway, thank you for watching me. Please like, share. I hope that helps anyone that you know that thought whatever mainstream media is saying, whatever they're saying, he was a law-abiding citizen. He was peacefully protesting. He had a right, blah, 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 blah. Again, he has a right to peacefully protest. He has a right to videotape people or video record or whatever in the public. You have a right, correct. You do not have a right to attack federal agents. You do not have a right to look like you're going to pull a gun on them. Okay? So, thank you for watching. Please like and share. Please comment. Anything that you want to share. If you hate me, you can say that too. You can say whatever you want. Like I said, freedom of speech. It's real. Thank you. You have a great evening. If you're in an area that's cold, please stay warm. Please stay safe, and hope to see you tomorrow evening.